Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome all the happy, smiling faces of our NUM MBA students. We're very glad you're here tonight. My name is Rick Starr, and it's my pleasure to introduce the president of our club, Jean Symington Craig.
I'll just repeat that. It's very good to see all these fresh faces. We are at Golden Speakers Toastmasters. We meet every Tuesday evening, 7:45 to 9:15 in the Hy-Vee Community Room on the west side of the square. Sorry, store of the store. West side of the store. Is everybody paying attention? That's good. Just to remind everyone, the mission of a Toastmasters Club is to provide a mutually supportive and positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop oral communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. Let's hear it for our mission. While I'm putting two hands together, since we have a lot of guests here tonight, this is called clapping. Is anyone not familiar with this action? We do this a lot. We do this a lot tonight. So you just follow when everybody's in. Basically, when people are coming up, we're clapping. When people are leaving, we're clapping. And sometimes if we just get on a roll, we might decide we want to clap just for the fun of it. But just follow the people that are up here at the front. Let's just go ahead and have our guests stand and give us your name. And we know you're here as most of you are here as a class, but we have a couple of others. So let's start with that gentleman in the back.
Hey, I'm Zane. I'm the Director of Career Services for MUM's MBA in Accounting program. I convinced the students in the Career Services program to come out to this Toastmasters event. I didn't have to do too much. I just said it, and they knew about it. They wanted to come out. They heard about it. And I did warn them that it's very possible. They could have to stand up and introduce themselves. So anyway, that's me.
Yes, we have people from the MBA program. Jane Schmidt-Will has brought classes of students over. I don't know if warn is the right word. You may get the opportunity.
Excited them.
Yes, yes, exactly. That's the right flavor.
Yes.
Okay.
Inspired them.
Inspire them. You may get a chance. Lady next to you.
Hi, I'm Hamara from MUM MBA program.
Okay, and you might also tell us where you're from originally too, because that's kind of fun.
Ethiopia.
Ethiopia,
Yeah.
great. Okay, and what we'll do, because we have so many, we'll wait and we'll clap after everybody. Just because I don't want you guys to get blisters only 10 minutes in. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Raj. I'm from Nepal, and this is my first time in US, and I'm from MUM campus. Thank you.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Cuban. I'm from Ethiopia. I'm MBA in accounting.
Great.
Hi everyone, I'm Crystal and I'm from the Philippines. So Toastmasters is big in the Philippines, but I never got the chance to attend any of the meetings, so this is my first time. I'm excited.
Hello everyone, I'm Asta and I'm from Nepal. I have just heard about it and this is my first time over here. Thank you.
Good.
Hello everyone, good evening. I'm Francis from the Philippines as well, MUM MBA.
Okay, great. And then we have,
Hi, I'm Assad. I'm from Syria. I teach and study at the computer science department at the university.
and tell us how you got here tonight, or how someone.
My friend, I heard about Toastmasters from my friend and he brought me here.
Great. So what was Orlando doing? Talking up Toastmasters. Let's get a round of applause. Well, we're going to have a very full evening tonight, lots of opportunities. When we get to our table topics section, which is impromptu speaking. We also open that up for guests, so you can be, we're gonna lock the door, so even though I've said that, you can't run now. And with that, I'm going to invite up our Toastmaster for the evening, who is Ryan Miller.
I accept. All right, thank you, Jean. All right, here we go. Good evening, guests. Thank you for coming. This is great. We have a good audience tonight, and hopefully you'll participate as well in the table topics, which is part of our meeting later. But first, let's talk about the role players. We have a few role players tonight which take account of some words, the all counter. We have the role player of grammarian and timer. So first, let's hear from our timer, Stuart Straub. Please tell us about timer. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, viewers at home, and guests. At certain intervals during speaking, I'm going to show some color. Green for an icebreaker would be 4 minutes. Yellow would be 5, and red would signal the speech should be completed. And when you get to the red, 30 seconds after, I'll start clapping. That will signal everyone to clap. That means that you should come to an end if you're speaking. And then there are greater lengths of time for certain speeches. Okay, and we want to, what's that?
Go ahead.
And we want to, of course, speak, but we also want to be able to convey information in a certain amount of time. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thanks, Stuart. And we have a grammarian, which is being performed by Jean Symington Craig.
Thank you. My job as the grammarian is twofold. One is to introduce the word of the evening, which is illustrious, written back there. We like to learn new words as we go through life. The definition is notably or brilliantly outstanding because of dignity, achievements, or action. Used in a sentence, Professor Seyfried is an illustrious member of our community, known for his insightful writing and sense of humor. The second part of my job, I do know Professor Seyfried. The second part of my job is to take note of creative uses of the language and also areas where there might be a suggestion for improvement. And I'll give a report at the end of the meeting.
And our next role for the night is the awe counter, which Lewis will explain.
Good evening, everyone. My role as the awe counter is to pay careful attention to all of you when you're speaking and watch out for your filler words. Like, you know, so, but, and, etc. And I will give a report at the end of the evening.
Excuse me, I want to say one more thing about using that word, the illustrious word. The goal is to try to work that into your speech if you're up here in front in some way. So it's a little bit of a fun thing to try to see if you can use it. Thank you.
All
And to
right.
use it correctly, not just use it.
And that will bring us to the one more role tonight, which actually is open for the taking if anyone's feeling funny and wants to test their humor tonight. We have a joke master role, so I'm going to offer that right now. And if no one raises it, Emery, jokes. Okay. Okay. Somebody's volunteered, so that's good. Somebody will volunteer or not. Okay. And quite good. We're off to a good start. Let's move on to the next portion of our meeting, which is the prepared speeches, which, as some of you may know, is a 5 to 7 minute speech on average, but we have some longer speeches tonight. So let's have Rick Starr introduce the first speaker tonight. Rick.
Mr. Toastmaster, honored guests, thank you for coming. Yours at home and fellow golden speakers. Because there's so many guests, I just want to explain a little bit how prepared speeches work. The first award in the Toastmasters for speaking is from the Competent Communication book. There's 10 speeches in here, each one emphasizing a different aspect of public speaking. So if you make it through all 10 speeches, you're awarded the Competent Communicator Award. And this is, in fact, Annalisa's final speech, and she will complete this award after tonight.
Woo!
Annalisa has been in Toastmasters for over a year. She is passionate about holistic health, community, and personal development. She is excited and proud that she has completed the CC manual, and we're proud of you too. So the speech tonight is Project 10. It's called Inspire Your Audience. And there are certain objectives. First, to inspire the audience by appealing to noble motives and challenging the audience to achieve a higher level of beliefs or achievement. Appeal to the audience's needs, emotions, using stories, anecdotes, and quotes to add drama, and avoid using notes. The time of this speech is 8 to 10 minutes, and the title of the speech is The Elimination Diet. Annalisa.
Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home. So this is my final speech in the manual, number 10, and it's Inspire Your Audience. So I went online, I Googled inspiring speeches, and all these amazing speeches came up, like Steve Jobs' commencement speech. It was very illustrious, I thought. And I was like, what can I talk about? Like, I don't know how to be inspiring. So I admit I was a little confused as to what to talk about. But then I went back to what I'm passionate about and what I'm interested in about, which is health and holistic health and healing and diet. So I decided that what you eat, your diet, really affects your life. If, for example, Steve Jobs was eating a diet full of, I don't know, a lot of sugar and carbs or something, he wouldn't be energized, he wouldn't be feeling really great. Would he be able to run Apple? I don't know. Would he be invited to this commencement speech? I'm not sure. So diet and health are kind of the foundation to life and to your well-being. So I'm going to talk about that and hopefully inspire all of you to look at your diet and see if there's ways you can improve it for a happier, healthier, energized life. So I'm going to talk about the elimination diet. But let's first start with a question that a lot of people have, which is, what do I eat? You look in magazines, you talk to your friends, you go on the internet, and there's always a headline, do not eat this item, food item, or make sure you include this in your diet, or one more like, this diet changed my life, and I'm sure all of you have seen this. And I'd actually like to hear from all of you, what are some eating plans or diets that you've been hearing in the news or that you've been interested in trying, if you want to shout it out? Anyone can think of anything?
Fat-free.
Fat-free.
I remember Atkins.
Atkins, yeah.
South
South Beach, yeah.
Paleo.
Yeah, because I was going to say paleo,
Gluten-free.
gluten-free, exactly, yeah.
Seafood and eat it.
Yeah, seafood and eat it, I've heard of that one, I like that one. So there's just so many options, and it's really overwhelming. So for me, this is good news and it's bad news. The bad news is there actually is no one diet for everyone. Someone can't just walk into this room right now and say, all of you should be eating this. This is your diet, this is your eating plan, you're gonna feel energized, you're gonna feel great in your life. It's just not gonna happen. Unfortunately, because that would be really, for me, that'd be really nice if someone's like, this is exactly what you should be eating, you're gonna feel amazing. But it doesn't work that way. Because this is the good news, we are all individuals, we're all different, we have different needs. All of us in this room have a different age, different lifestyle, different constitution, different DNA. So you can't just decide what everyone's supposed to eat. So to figure out what you're supposed to eat, you need to go within, you need to figure out what works for you. Because, for example, if Art here ate a piece of bread, I wouldn't know how his body reacts because he might get a stomach ache, but I'm not gonna know by looking. He's the only one that's gonna know his symptoms or what's going on inside. So maybe all of you are wondering now, well, what do I eat? How do I know what to eat? And this is where the elimination diet comes in. It's a simple, okay, I'm not gonna say simple. It's kind of challenging, but it's an approach to figure out if you have some food sensitivities, that maybe there's a food group that is harming your body. Let me go into the difference between a food sensitivity and a food allergy. So food allergy, maybe some of you have this, if you eat a peanut or if you eat shellfish, your throat swells up, you have to go to the hospital, you break up in hives. That's a food allergy, so that's extreme. You probably know if you have that. But a food sensitivity is something that is more subtle. Maybe you get a stomach ache after eating the food. Maybe you get some acne, or you get a headache in the afternoon, or you're tired, something like that. So it's not a really obvious sign, but it's something that's kind of is not helping your day-to-day life. You're not feeling energized, you're not feeling great. So that's a food sensitivity, and that's what the elimination diet will find for you. So this is how it works, the elimination diet. You're going to eliminate the top food sensitive foods. And can any of you guess what some of these top foods are?
Soy.
Soy.
Wheat.
Wheat.
Corn.
Yeah, gluten. Corn.
Dairy.
Dairy.
Sugar.
Sugar. Yeah, actually, I like sugar. Citrus is one. Shellfish. So it's kind of a long list. It can get overwhelming. There's two ways to do the elimination diet. You can either eliminate all of those at once at the same time. So you're probably wondering, what am I going to eat? And it's a little tricky. There are books on this. You can look on the website. But yeah, you're going to eliminate gluten, dairy, soy, citrus, shellfish. I'm missing the rest. Corn and the other one. So you eliminate all of that at once for about a month. You're not eating that. And then one at a time, you're going to introduce this food group. So you introduce gluten. You haven't had gluten for a month. Eat a pile of pasta. Don't eat too big of a pile of pasta because I think that hurts anyone's stomach, honestly. So just, eat some pasta. And then be a detective. Be your own detective on your body and pay attention to even the tiniest little symptoms you might have. I have a friend that has been off gluten for 60 days, and she noticed that in the afternoons, normally she gets that energy slump, but in the afternoon she doesn't have that anymore, just from eliminating gluten. So she was paying attention to what was happening, but this is the opposite. Pay attention if there's anything bad that happens. So maybe you eat that gluten, and then you get a stomach ache or something. So just notice, and if you don't have any symptoms, after a month of not eating gluten, you have it back, then you're probably okay with it, the gluten. So once you've reintroduced the gluten, then you're going to introduce the dairy, or what order you want. Making sure you don't add everything at the same time, because obviously you won't know your symptoms. Another way to do this, if you are overwhelmed by eliminating 7 big groups at once, is to do it one at a time. It's going to take longer, but you would eliminate gluten, just that, for 1 month, and then bring it back to see how you feel. Next month, move on to dairy, next month, etc. Now, I know this might seem really simple, but a lot of doctors are actually recommending, more like integrative doctors are recommending that you try this elimination diet, because there are blood tests out there that will show if you're sensitive, but this is the easiest, inexpensive, and really, what's the word?
Personalized.
Well, personalized, yeah, personalized, and works really well to see for your body what maybe is not working for you. And I think if you try it and you notice maybe gluten isn't working for you, don't freak out and think you cannot eat gluten for the rest of your life. Sometimes your body just needs to heal. Maybe it's been eating too much gluten, or something else is going on. If you eliminate gluten, give your body some time to heal the gut, you might be able to introduce it back and it's going to be okay. You just maybe won't have as much. Or you might be like my friend who eliminated gluten and doesn't want to have it now because she has such great results. So don't think of it as a punishment, just it's more of an observation, see what's going on. You are obviously in charge of what you're going to eat in the end. And think of it as a way to empower yourself and to find a way to feel better and feel more energized. So that's the elimination diet, where you're going to eliminate food groups and then introduce them and to see how you're feeling. That's what I got. Thanks.
All right, let's take 2 minutes to evaluate Annalisa's speech, and so we get 2 minutes on the clock. And pencils down. Our next speaker tonight will be introduced by Will Burns, and Orlando Arocha will be introducing the next speaker. And let's welcome Orlando.
Good evening, Toastmasters, our guests and viewers at home. Tonight, I have the honor to present the illustrious Emery Styron. He is a journalist from Mount Pleasant. He grew up in the Southwest Missouri Ozark and holds a bachelor's degree in journalism from the University of Missouri and a master's degree in business administration from St. Ambrose University. Emery has reported and sold ads for edited, owned, and managed newspapers in Missouri and Iowa since 1974. He's married to Virginia Styron and has 2 children and 3 grandchildren. He's self-employed as a freelancer, writer. His last story was a piece of on small-town movie theaters for the Des Moines Register. Emery tonight is going to do project number 6. This project is about vocal variety. The objectives of this project is to use voice, volume, pitch, rate, and quality to reflect and add meaning and interest to your message. He has to use pause to enhance the message and use vocal variety smoothly and naturally, so he'll cut our attention. This speech is about 5 to 7 minutes, and he is going to talk about, the title of his speech is Thanks T-shirts.
Thank you, Orlando. And greetings, guests, viewers at home, and fellow Toastmasters. Since some of my topic deals with Thanksgiving, and we have many visitors and many different cultures represented, I think I'd better ask Are you all somewhat familiar with the American custom of Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Okay. No?
Not
Okay.
much.
Very briefly, it's a custom in this country in late November to give thanks, to count our blessings for the good things that have happened to us. So, with that preface, when I think of Thanksgiving, I think of my first grade teacher, Mrs. Cross. Now, there was a woman who lived up to her name. Mrs. Cross was cross. And it was just about this exact time of year, but many years ago, that I looked up from my desk and saw Mrs. Cross glaring down at the Thanksgiving coloring project I was working on. And she pointed and said, "That's about what I would have expected from you." Maybe it was a compliment, but it sounded like scolding to me. And what do you suppose was my egregious artistic sin? I had colored outside the lines. And I had shaded those pilgrim clothes, not black, not gray, but green. Oh, the horror of it all. Well, luckily for me, not all of my teachers were like Mrs. Cross. I had many who inspired and encouraged me. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I want to talk about 3 of those illustrious teachers tonight. My 4th grade teacher, Miss Center, I should say, recognized that I was a shy child and that I was afraid to speak up in class. And you know why? I couldn't pronounce my R's, and I was scared to death being made fun of. And she had seen how I cringed and burned with embarrassment when the kids teased me and called me Imwe-Stywan. But she knew what to do. She lavishly praised the poems I wrote and showed to her and helped me overcome my shyness. I learned from her that even a shy person can get positive strokes with writing. And then there was Miss Jennings. I didn't take Miss Jennings' home economics class in high school. Back then, boys were not expected to be interested in cooking and sewing and things like that. But Miss Jennings had a great impact on me anyway. Miss Jennings was the epitome of a prim, proper, and fastidious lady. Unfortunately, she was also the butt of many cruel jokes. She was unmarried. She lived with her aging mother, and she was forever spraying down doorknobs, stair railings, and telephone receivers with Lysol. We weren't all that germ-phobic back then, but Miss Jennings was ahead of her time. I knew her best as a customer on my early morning and afternoon paper routes. Miss Jennings never failed to pay me promptly, to praise me and thank me for good service, and to invite me in for hot chocolate and cookies and a nice bonus check at Christmas. I still have from Miss Jennings a letter she wrote. She noted that as a morning paper carrier, I had more opportunities than most people to observe the sunrise. And she hoped that I would use that opportunity to awaken to my own great potential and to expand my horizons beyond our little town. And then the 3rd teacher who had a great impact on me was Professor James T. Payne, my English and speech teacher at community college. Mr. Payne had a great sense of humor and an unusual teaching style. For example, he insisted that the T in his middle name stood for transition, because transition is so important to good speaking and writing. He also required his literature students to memorize the prologue to Canterbury Tales, which was written, I think, in about 1650 or so, and recite it in Old English. Some of that has stuck in my head over all these years, as I'm sure Mr. Payne had in mind. Let me see if I can recall it. On the April with its surest sauté, the drouth of March hath pierced to the rote, and bathed every vein in sich liqueur. We better stop there. One more thing Mr. Payne taught us. Refined people, when they have had enough to eat, simply say, I have dined sufficiently. They do not, as many people do, kind of burp and belch and pat their bellies and say, I'm so full, I think I might bust a gut. So at this time of Thanksgiving, I want to pay tribute to these three illustrious teachers. To Miss Center for helping me overcome my shyness, encouraging my writing. To Miss Jennings for encouraging me to stretch my horizons. And to Mr. Payne for making English and speech so memorable. Let me leave you with one Thanksgiving thought. Think this month on those people who've had a good influence on you, and reach out and let them know. If they're still living, and if they're gone, try to pay it forward in some way. And when you think, if you sit down to a big Thanksgiving feast, as Mr. Payne might say, I hope you dine sufficiently.
Thank you, Emery. Very illustrious. All right, let's take 2 minutes to write some comments about Emery's speech. And timer. We're back for the timing qualification section of the prepared speeches. Did everybody qualify tonight for the prepared speech?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Yes.
Annalisa clocked in at 8:50, so yes. And I was distracted, and my apologies to Emery Styron. You gave a great speech, and I was taking notes on your speech to give you a good evaluation, and I got distracted, so you saw that the light just kind of came on, and so I wasn't alerting you to sections of time, so I believe that you would have fallen within the time frame that I've been on the job, as my illustrious predecessors were. My apologies.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
Apology accepted.
Okay, great. So let's vote for the best speaker. Just on your little papers, just fill it out, and somebody will be around to collect it. All right, we are back, and I will take us into the next section of our meeting. Prepare yourselves for the table topics. And, I'm sorry, first evaluation. So let's hear from the general evaluator. He's going to introduce us to the evaluation section. And that's Art right here.
Good evening, Toastmasters, and many guests, viewers at home. Evaluation, this part of the meeting, is designed to help the speakers to understand what they did well and to what, in the evaluator's opinions, might be improved. First, I would like to invite evaluator Rick Starr to come up and give us his evaluation of Annalisa's talk.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Golden speakers, honored guests, viewers at home. Congratulations on completing. The way we do an evaluation is the manual has certain points relating to the speech, and we go through these, which is what I shall do now. Is the speech topic relevant to the occasion selected? Yes, we're all interested in a better diet. And did the speaker understand and express the feelings and needs of the audience? Yes, just we're completely inundated with, as you mentioned, so many ads and articles, and it just drives us crazy. And you saved us by providing us with this elimination diet. Thank you. Was the speaker forceful, confident, and positive? Yes, to all three of those. And did the speaker effectively use stories, anecdotes, and or quotes to help convey her message? Yes, I thought Annalisa did a very effective job. One example is a friend who did the elimination diet and was just so enamored with lack of gluten that she never went back to gluten again. Did the speaker's use of body language enhance his or her message? I thought, absolutely yes. I thought this was one of the strongest parts of your speech. You waved your hands when you talked about all the information we're getting. You talked about a food allergy. You said your voice would, your throat would constrict. So that was very, very graphic. So what did I like about the speech? The speech had a good structure. There was a good intro with a good hook. You drew the audience in. You asked them what had they heard, what kind of diets had they heard about. And there was the body of the speech, and you concluded with a nice wrap-up. As I mentioned, good body language, and you also moved about the stage. Not too much, but just enough, which I thought was a good idea. You have naturally good vocal variety. It was a very, very informative speech. A lot of good information in there. And you had good eye contact with the audience. And what could the speaker have done differently? One thing, the speech is to inspire the audience, relying heavily on emotional appeal. And you're kind of nodding here, but I think maybe you could have done a better job at that. And maybe come up with some more personal stories, like your friend who's gluten-free. And I think that would have added something to the speech. But overall, a good speech, and congratulations on completing the match. Thank you, Rick.
Now I'd like to invite up Will Burns. Or my apologies.
I started the trend.
Orlando.
Thanks, teachers. The title of our speech that Emil just gave us, it was very nice. It's an incredible journey in his life. The purpose of this speech was to use a vocal variety and to see if it was pleasing to listen the speech. It was nice, but I really like it. I was engaged with it, and I think he has some ranges in voice. So the topic selection of this speech was good because Thanksgiving is coming, and he is giving us his experience, and he's trying to demonstrate with his experience that we should also give thanks to the people that had helped us in the past. So that's a good message. volume, he maintained a nice volume during the whole speech. Maybe in some certain phrases that he used, he could have used a higher pitch or higher volume to catch more our attention, but it was nice. The rate, good. Pitch, he got different varieties of words, especially the poem. He used different strong words that I read. Actually, I couldn't understand the poem. But it was nice. Quality, the overall, the whole speech it was well organized, very well integrated. Good expressions, and the word of usage, the usage of his words were very nice, very well thought. As he is a writer, he must have used his time correctly to include all the nice words that were included. Body language, he was walking around the podium, and so he was in just one position, and he was always open to everybody, so it makes the conversation more welcoming. Overall, great speech. I really like it, and I think I gave my criticism with it. Thank you.
Now we have a new section that is going to be exciting for many of us to participate in. We have a section called Table Topics, and to run that section, we have Table Topics Master Louis Denbell. Well equipped.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Welcome everyone to our Table Topics section of the evening. Table Topics is a way to practice impromptu speaking. Speaking, we say off the cuff. I don't have any cuffs tonight, but speaking off the cuff. For a question, maybe you're at a party, someone stops you in the street, asks you a question. This is a way to speak in the moment. Normally, I ask people questions and you have to answer the question. But every once in a while, we have a little change of pace. We call it prop night. Inside this box are objects. And when you come up for your table topic, I will hand you an object. You have 30 seconds to just think quietly about what you're going to say. Then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about your object. The green light will come on at 1 minute, the yellow light will come on at 1.5 minutes, and the red light will come on at 2 minutes. You then have 30 seconds to wrap up after the red light comes on.
Question.
Yes?
Is there any particular angle on this
The
talk?
angle is the theme of the night, which is fall fun. Okay? Fall meaning the season, not fall meaning falling down. But maybe you want to segue into that kind of fall, I don't know.
So using the object in fall fun.
Yes. Okay. So first volunteer. Guests are allowed to participate, but we'd like a club member to go first so you can see how it's done. Club member, who's our first one? Jean. All right. I'm picking the objects. This is not a democracy. I'm going to give you this one.
Oh, what is that?
Open it up.
Giant bag.
That's all Good luck.
Fellow Toastmasters, honored and illustrious guests, and viewers at home, I am delighted to be the recipient of this garment. I do notice, however, it needs a little bit of finishing, i.e. a hole for the head to go through. However, it's orange, and having just gone through Halloween and pumpkins and coming up on Thanksgiving with pumpkin pie and sweet potatoes, it's a perfect color. I also note that it doesn't need hemming. It's perfect. It's just at the length. Now, this will work with boots. It can also work with heels if you want to dress it up a little bit. It also looks like it will need some arm holes as well as the neck holes. But of course, that allows you to display any kind of arm candy that you want to have here. You can also belt this item, by the way. I would suggest a larger black belt, again, black and orange, and then you'll be in the Hawkeye theme, and you are in Iowa. But it will give you some shape. Those of you that are concerned about having some shape. This could actually be a unisex garment. So gentlemen, this is something you could wear too. A muscle kind of look. Get those biceps out there and shoulders and everything. Again, I think a belt would be useful for that purpose as well. Honestly, a very versatile garment for the season. Thank you.
Thank you, Jean. So if you can see what Jean did, she took an item, I'm not sure Jean knew what this was for, but this is actually to put your leaves in when you rake them up. But what she did was a fantastic segue into fantasy and making us laugh with humor. So good job, Jean. Next, volunteer. Volunteers. Zane, thank you for volunteering. All right. That's the spirit. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's see what we have here.
Yeah. Do I get to look?
No. We have football, kind of a little deflated. You have 30 seconds to think about it.
All right.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot. You tell me when?
Whenever you want.
Ready to go? All right. So, back when I was a kid, did I forget to say thank you to everyone for being here? Because I do want to say thank you for everyone being here and for inviting me up here. I want to thank my fellow colleagues in the MBA accounting program for joining me and piling themselves into my car. All 7 of you to come out here. I promised you that it would be an adventure that you would tell your grandchildren, and the night is still young. So, let's talk about this football here for just for a minute. When I was a kid, a couple years ago, I was really, really skinny. And being a kid in North Carolina, what you did was you played basketball. You did not play football. So when I was growing up, the older kids, as they began to put on beef, as they put on size, they liked to play football because they got to hit each other. And those of you old enough to know about children know that young boys at a certain age just love to hit people. Well, since I was a really skinny kid, I didn't really enjoy getting hit and punched and knocked down. So I chose not to play football. And as a result, it made me kind of stand out. Even though everyone loved basketball, you're telling me I've got to wrap it up?
No.
Come on, dude.
You got a little bit.
So I decided to play basketball because being a loner, you have to have somebody to catch the football with. And you have to have somebody to throw it to and kick it to. Well, there was nobody in my backyard that I could play with, but I had a basketball goal. So every afternoon, instead of playing catch with an imaginary friend, I shot baskets over and over and over. And so the theme of this story is you make use of what you've got, and we are done.
Good job. So you could play by yourself.
Yeah.
You may fall.
Could you just review the 1, 1.5, and 2?
Yes, I will do that. So when you come up, you have up to 30 seconds to just stand here and think. When you're ready, start. When you start speaking, the timer will time 1 minute. A green light will come on. That means you've met the minimum. You have qualified. Green is good. Okay. Another 30 seconds later, the yellow will come in. Yellow on. Yellow is warning, warning, warning. Red comes on. That means you're out of time, but you can take 30 seconds to wrap it up. That clear? Everybody got the time down?
And
Yes.
the red comes on at?
The red comes on at 2 minutes. Okay, next volunteer. Club member, guest.
I'll take a shot.
All right.
All right, so I'm not, this is not a democracy.
This is not a democracy, no.
All right.
This is King Louis here giving out the props.
All right. All right. Thank you, Louis. Yeah. Well, honored Toastmasters, guests, and viewers at home, I would like to sell you this gingerbread house, which is not edible, just as a heads up, but this house you can keep in your window, you can put it, actually I've used these before, I want to tell you I have experience with these. They are perfect window adornment. You can put them, you know Everybody's health food store? I worked there for a year, and we use these on the sill, windowsill, during Christmas and Thanksgiving. So with Thanksgiving coming up, this is the perfect windowsill gingerbread house, and it actually lights up with you can power it with anything, you know, solar panel if you want to be environmentally conscious. But the great thing is that it's only it's universal. Any culture can use this. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to believe in it, you know, in Thanksgiving or give thanks. You can just put this in your window, and people will appreciate your store or your home. Yeah, it's very decorative. It has ghosts on it, and the ghosts, you know, they won't scare people away. They're not that scary. They look pretty friendly. They have smiles and stuff. Yeah, so it's a gingerbread. It's not gingerbread actually. It's more of a clay porcelain. But my first reaction was it looks like a gingerbread house. So yeah, they're very expensive. You know, you can use them for your business if you own a business, or if you want to entertain the family. They're a good talking piece. So yeah, just keep it for your and you know, they'll last forever. It's great. Buy this.
By the way, one other table topics pointer. As soon as the green light comes on, you can finish. You're legal at that point. You don't have to go until the red light. You're done speaking, it's green, you can stop. Next.
We love to hear from guests.
Who's brave? What's that?
Assad, yes.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on, Assad.
Oh, wait, no, thank you. Maybe in second life.
How about our guest in the back?
Okay, I'll try.
All right.
Thank you. This is what I got for you here. Uh-huh. Let's try this little fella.
What's that?
Hi everyone. All the Toastmasters, YouTube viewers, and guests. As soon as I received this gift, I remember my childhood. When I was hanging out with my friend, one of the dogs bite on my ass. That's why I was worried to hold it. Anyway, thank you very much for this item because I remember that event. So I cried and I went to my mother and I asked mother to have some medicines on my ass. So anyway, so this seems to be a perfect Thanksgiving gift. Made of what do you call it? Is it made of clay? Is it made of clay?
Right.
Or might be. So this is a perfect Thanksgiving gift. It might be. So you want to purchase, you can contact to Mr. I don't know his name. Anyway, you can contact to him. He can give you more discount. Well, and it doesn't have feather. Can you see the feather here?
No.
No, it doesn't have leg too. So this is not a perfect dog. I don't think anybody can buy it because it doesn't have feet, it doesn't have feather. Anyway, the color seems to be good. This color, is it suitable? Is it a good color?
Yeah.
I think yes. Anyway, yes. And what else I can tell about this is that it seems to be a bird too. I mean, like it can fly too. Anyway, you can see a hole here. You can pour water. You can, if you. Oh, I remember another incident. When I was a kid, I used to steal money and hide all those money inside of any stocks like this, so that nobody can see. If I put it here, nobody can see what's inside. So I used to steal money from my sisters, and I used to keep inside this kind of stuff. So that's very useful. Anyway, thank you very much.
All right, I'll be careful where I put this. We have time for one more? No. Okay. So thank you all for doing table topics tonight. Oh, Mr. Timer, did everyone qualify?
Mr. Table Topics Master, yes, everyone.
Okay, can you please read the names?
Jean Symington Craig, Symington? Symington. Jean Symington Craig, clocked in at 1:56, and Zane, and I want to make sure I get your last name right, is it Seyfried? Seyfried?
Yep.
You clocked in at 2:11.
You don't need the times, just read the names at this point.
Apologies.
No problem.
And Raj.
Okay, so let us vote for the best table topic tonight.
We're back. Now we have a table topics evaluator who has a big job. He has lots of people to evaluate. Mr. Will Burns.
Thank you, Art. I'm thrilled to be up here after so many false alarms and finally take my place up here with pride. Our first table topic speaker was Jean Symington Craig with the leaf bag. Now, Jean went with humor in this case. However, rest assured that Jean was being very modest about her fashion sense. She is a power debutante, give a beautiful speech about that, and she knows fashion. So take what she says to heart. Jean, my suggestion for you would be to place the bag on the lectern so you can do these beautiful hand gestures, you can indicate. Just as a possible suggestion. Great field topics. Zane, you had the football. I like how you were very confident. You have obviously been in front of the stage before. You spun us a story of a skinny boy who didn't want to get tackled all the time, and so took to shooting hoops. Now, for me, my suggestion for you would be, this was a very personal story, and it really resonated strongly with me. So I think it would have even enhanced the power if you'd come up from behind the lectern in front, just to kind of remove that barrier to bring us closer. But again, thank you for sharing that. Prana had the lighted house, the gingerbread house that was not a gingerbread house, evidently. You spoke about it being universally good, that it takes any source of energy, it can be enjoyed by any culture. For you, I have the same suggestion that I have for myself, which is to take those full 30 seconds and think of a way to kind of provide bookends, because you kind of were all over the place a little bit, which I do all too much myself. Thank you for that. And finally, Raj, with the ceramic clay duck. That reminds you of your childhood. We thought it was going one direction and you took it in a different direction, but great job there. For you, my suggestion is simple. You had a gem of a story there, and you are welcome to use the duck and then segue off, either into the story about being bitten and how that issue got resolved, or about hiding money from your sister. Both those are excellent stories. But great job as well. Thank you, everybody who participated either as an audience or as a member.
Now it's time for us to hear from our role players. Ah, yes. Mr. Timer, has every one of our evaluators qualified this evening?
Yes, sir, everyone has.
And that would be Will, who just spoke.
Will Burns, Rick Starr.
Orlando.
Yes,
Orlando. And Rick. Now we are ready to have our reports from the role players. First of all, may we have our timers report. Stuart?
Yes. So this is where I give all the times. Okay, alrighty. So the two speakers, Annalise and Frederick, clocked in at. So
yeah.
Which
Frederick's
correction? Frederickson. I apologize. She clocked in at 8 minutes and 50 seconds, and Emery Styron, the time's a bit of a mystery because I was distracted, so we'll say it's 7 minutes exactly. For table topics, Jean Symington Craig clocked in at 1:56. Zane Safri clocked in at 2:11. Prana Miller, 2 minutes, and Raj, and your last name is? Bundy. Okay, at 2 minutes and 12 seconds. And for our speech evaluators, Rick Starr, 2 minutes, 51 seconds. Orlando Arocha, 2 minutes, 58 seconds. And Will Burns at 2 minutes and 28 seconds.
Okay, good.
Is our grammarian prepared?
Yes.
Okay, let's hear a grammarian report from Jean.
Okay. On the use of our word of the night, a lot of illustrious usage tonight. Annalisa used it once, Orlando used it once, Emery used it twice, Ryan Prana Miller used it once, And Dewar used it once. And did anybody else use it and I didn't hear it? This is a listening exercise, so I want to make sure I didn't miss one there. I did?
Yeah, you did.
I did. I didn't mark myself down. Okay, yes, I did. A couple of times, I think. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
you
then-
made note to your chair to record the fact.
Yes, yes, I did. And then in terms of creative usages of language, I did like Annalisa bringing out the idea of being a detective about your diet. And then Emery always uses such great word choices to describe things, and he puts them in his memory, so he's got them available. So he said egregious artistic sin. He said the epitome of a prim, proper, like you got the P's going there, fastidious lady. And then he also said that she was, the one who was doing the Lysol was ahead of her time. I just thought those were all creative phrases to use. And that's my report.
Thank you. Now, if our counter Lou Denbaum could give us his report.
Yes, I have a little help from my friend Rick Starr. Jean, 3 so's, 1 and, 1 false start. Brian Prana, 1 1 so, 1 but, 1 and. Rick, 2 so's, 5 ands. Annalisa, 1 like, 8 so's and 4 ands. Orlando, 7 X's, 2 2 so's, 1 and. Emery, 1 so, 3 ands. Lewis, 3 so's. Zane, 2 3 5 so's, 3 ands. Rana, 4 5 1 you know, 3 so's, 1 and, 1 false start. And that's my report for the evening.
Do we have an impromptu joke master in the house? We do!
Yay!
Our very Jean Craig standing in once again as the joke master. Have at it.
Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. This is a story about a psychologist who had twin boys. One boy was a perpetual optimist. The other boy was always a pessimist. The psychologist wanted to conduct an experiment. So their birthday rolled around. He went to the room of his pessimist son and filled it full of toys and games and just beautiful little gifts. And he went to the room of his optimist son and he filled it with a pile of horse pellets. Horse manure. So he checked in on the two sons. He looked in on the pessimist son with all the gifts and toys and everything, and he was sitting there surrounded by all these wonderful things, crying. He said, I've got all these manuals to read. I have to go to the store and buy batteries. These things are all going to be broken in a week anyway. So it kind of followed. So he checked in on the optimist son. He was in his room dancing around the pile of horse manure. He was having a wonderful time. He was so happy. The psychologist said, why is that? The son said, there has got to be a pony in there somewhere.
Now for some brief comments from me. My role is to evaluate the evaluators, meaning to treat each of their evaluations as a small impromptu speech with limited preparation time and what was done well and what might have been improved. Rick did us all a favor at the beginning of his evaluation introduction of Annalisa. He actually held up the manual and explained the whole process. In addition, he read out each of the manual objectives that is stated for her project. And then when it came time to perform the evaluation, Rick went point by point through the manual and read us the manual point and gave his opinion about the relevance, the confidence she displayed, the effectiveness, the body language she used. He was highly analytical in observing the things that she did well. He had praise for the way she engaged the audience by asking questions. He had a suggestion for improvement. I have no actual suggestions for improvement of Rick, because the one thing that I thought about that she could have improved, he already pulled out. Orlando also read the manual objectives for the speech. He focused on the vocal variety that Emery used. He pulled out the theme. The thing that was different about your evaluation from Rick's, Orlando, is that you didn't actually read us the manual objectives as you were evaluating. So it wasn't as clear to me where we were in the manual points as you were going through it. We weren't as clear as it could have been how your evaluation of her work was relevant to the particular point in the manual. You had praise for her language, the vocal variety that he used, for his movements about the stage. And my suggestion for you would be, since you use the manual points, read each one of them at the time you're doing the evaluation, and then give your observation about how the speaker did. Will Burns had the difficult task of evaluating 4 people in less than 3 minutes with very little preparation time. He had an actual positive suggestion for Jean, for Zane, for Prana, and for Raj. And it was well done. It was delivered with vigor from out here, with very little notes. I thought it was a bang of evaluation, and I don't have any suggestions for improvement. And now it's my pleasure to turn the lectern back over to the Toastmaster of the evening, Ryan Promenade.
Thanks, Art, for that excellent evaluation of the table topics evaluator and of the speaker evaluator, prepared speech evaluator. And for the moment you've all been waiting for, we get to find out who the best speaker was of tonight's 2 speakers. It is Emery. Variety number 6. We're moving on.
All right, moving along.
Let's also get a drum roll for the best table topic. And that is Jean Symington Craig. And last, we'll have our best evaluator, Will Burns. Lisa.
Lisa, yes.
And for closing awards, closing comments, let's welcome Jean Symington Craig, the president of Toastmasters.
Just want to point out, I think this is the last meeting where we have this lectern. So everyone take a good look at this. This is the traveling lectern. This is an award that we actually have gotten more times than any other club, but we share it this year because another club, we tied with another club. I'm bringing this up because everyone feast your eyes. This is now going to be going to Hilltop Toasters, which is the winner for this, anyway, we have to let it go. We will have something else, but it won't have our name on all these little individual plaques. And it is important because the way we get this, the way we earn this is by having people complete awards. And so I want to just especially highlight Annalisa's completion tonight because we need that award for our overall club goals, which we are in process of finishing our goals so that we will be again in possession of this for another season. So thank you, Annalisa. Club members, you'll know what that is. And speaking of our guests, let's just see, I think I'm gonna take one brave soul on this side and one brave soul on this side, and then of course Assad. But I'm gonna say students, and maybe one of you guys can come up or just stand and just give something that you liked about the meeting today. So Raj, we already heard from you.
Yeah, that's what I'm
So we're gonna look at those two, and we didn't have, okay, and you're a guy, so how about we hear from?
The guy.
From what?
The guy.
No, you're not following my logic. So I guess this is that sort of non-democratic approach that Lewis uses. You want to stand and just tell? Yeah, just stand and tell. It's the workout. Just feeling the blood rush around and standing and trying it. So something that you liked about the meeting?
I liked how everybody is confident and can speak in front of the camera, in front of all of these people. That's what I liked.
Okay, great. That's great. Everyone who's been up here started just where you are. And it is practice and it is a workout. So thank you for that though, because it's something that comes relatively quickly if you just work out the muscles. And now this side, Okay, now we heard from somebody from Nepal already.
Philippines.
We definitely have Philippines here. Okay, so you guys, which of you wants to stand and say something? Okay.
Is
Is Chrissy?
Krissa.
Krissa?
Yes.
All right.
I like that it's very structured, very well organized. Like people come here and I see them very well prepared. And it's very inspiring because this is a very safe environment to learn, especially for starters like me who get all nervous and sweaty when asked to speak in public. What else can I say? They say well timed. Yeah, I enjoyed coming here, and I hope I will get the courage to come again. Yeah.
Okay.
Very good. Very perfect.
We've actually had a very warm, responsive group of students, usually every year from MUM, who recognize that, yes, as part of their contributions to the world, as they are continuing on, that they want to have those communication and leadership skills, and that they don't just come by thinking about them, that you actually have to work out those muscles. And so Toastmasters, we're here every Tuesday, so say 7:40 to 9:15. Would love to have you come. Do any of you know Samantha Young? I know you guys didn't, because you just got here. Did everybody just get here? So we had just a really lively group last year, so we're looking for our NUM students this year to come on board. And you're in the Master's in Business Administration program, you're obviously going to want to be influencing people later. So it's just something, you're welcome to come back, and we would look forward to seeing you. If you have any further questions about what is it, how does it work to become a member, our Vice President of Membership is the illustrious, we're already past that, aren't we? Well, he's still illustrious, Emery Styron.
And I might add that we just need one more new member to be in the running for that lectern again. don't we?
2, I think we need 2. But
We're close, but
no, but yes.
someone could help us
Yes, it could be
over the line.
it could be a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Win for you, win for the club, but mostly win for you. Have we covered all the bases? I think we have. Is there any club business anyone has got? Our area director is here. Rick, do you want to give just 30 seconds about the district conference this weekend? Any comments?
Well, I could maybe talk for 25 seconds. Yeah, so the club had a speech competition, and the winners of the club's speech competition went to the area competition, then the division competition, and this weekend is the state competition, the district competition. And we had, in fact, one person from Cambridge, Cambridge has its own club, who's going to be there. So anyone who's interested in hearing a lot of great speeches, it's free. The speech competition starts at 2:30 and it goes up to about 5. And it's in it's in Cedar Rapids. And I invite you all to come. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Okay, very good. With that, we're at time, so meeting is adjourned. Please come back, and those members, please help pick up the room and get us ready to go. Thank you.